Ready to go?
Sure.
Okay. I've never been to the Kentucky Derby, and because of this awesome new job that I have, NBC's been sending me all over to all kinds of cool things.
The world tour.
Yeah. And my wife, Amy, who's here with us today to help us talk about this experience, went to the Kentucky Derby last year, right?
It was like 5 years ago.
5 years ago.
Yeah, it's been a while.
I remember she left
Holy
Talladega.
cow.
I came to Talladega and watched you race on Sunday.
5 years ago.
It's been that long.
Yeah.
Oh
my
my
hair was
gosh.
black too. Do you not remember? It's been that long ago.
I know, but dang, it just seems like 2 years ago,
Yeah,
maybe.
no, it's been a while.
Holy cow. So 5 years ago, well, you went 5 years ago, and you loved it.
Yeah, it's
Right?
so much fun.
And you were like, we got to go.
Mm-hmm.
I was going this year for the first time, but I'm working. So, I'm experiencing it, true, but at the same time, I'm working. We'll talk a little bit about what the difference is there. But it was amazing, man. And just like Amy said, it was incredible.
The energy there is pretty crazy.
Yeah,
isn't it?
and we talk about the energy at NASCAR races and the Super Bowl. Everything has its own kind of feel and culture, and the Kentucky Derby culture is definitely
One in its
loud and
own.
proud.
Yeah.
It's for everyone, male and female. There's just as many women there excited about what's happening, maybe even more
Right. Because of the fashion.
because of the
Yeah.
fashion. I got to work with Rut all day long, so I'm nervous. I'm going into the Kentucky Derby to I've never been. I'm gonna I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know what NBC's gonna want me to talk about. So Amy's been dealing with me being a nervous wreck for two or 3 weeks.
I keep waiting for one of these days for him not to get nervous when he goes to do something.
Now,
Professionally.
tell us real quick, what were 2 weeks leading into the Kentucky Derby like with him?
Well, we had a lot going on, but he's just, how do I put this nicely?
You don't have to be nice. This is where you can be honest.
Oh, he was, whiny, worried. Oh my gosh, just
Because of the clothes?
need to have the conversation every day. Is this going to go well?
Yeah.
I'm just so nervous. Yes, taking him shopping. I waited till the last possible day to do that because he hates to go shopping. For the most part, we have to drive down to Charlotte, which sitting in traffic is no fun. And usually shopping with him doesn't take that long, but he gets it built up in his mind like it's going to be this huge, horrible task. So we get to...
No. So I'm not worried that it's going to be a horrible task. I'm really nervous that we're not going to hit it out of the park. We always do.
Well, that's kind of the same thing. Like, you're
Yeah.
just worried about the whole experience going bad.
Yeah. Because everybody's so critical. And if you screw it up,
Well, and on top of that, I don't know if Amy said this to you, but she said it to me at the party, and she was like, listen, if y'all are going to the Kentucky Derby with me, you're not going to look like a couple of chimney sweeps plucked out of the Talladega infield, basically.
I don't know if I put it like that, but yeah, you got the gist.
That was the gist of it. And so, I hadn't felt pressure until then.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, oh, this is a thing I got to go pay attention to. I
Yep.
don't pay attention. I don't know what style is, and I certainly didn't know Kentucky Derby style.
all right, so I've never worn pink. I can't say that I remember ever wearing pink in my life.
Not by
Kinda-
choice.
Yeah, I kind of always wanted to, but there's never been an occasion. I've always wanted to, but there's never been an occasion where I thought pink was going to work that day. And here we are, Kentucky Derby. It's perfect opportunity, and there's this pink jacket hanging on
Right in
this
the
rack
middle of
over
the
there,
store,
and it's got
sure.
this little X on the pocket. And as soon as I saw that X on the pocket, I thought that's just like the jockey's uniforms.
Like those silks.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a good point.
Right. It's got this perfect little X on it. I'm like, it's great. And I'm trying to convince Amy to let me wear the pink jacket versus the jacket that came with the pants. That matched the pants was a little tough because she had this.
Well, I already had my outfit picked out. I had bought 5 different dresses just trying to make sure that I picked the perfect one with my fascinator or the hat or whatever, so getting an outfit for a woman's a little bit more of a big deal. So, of course, I take him last minute to shop, and he picks a pink jacket, and so I've got to redo my whole look because what I had picked out was like neon pink, and we were not going to look good standing next to
Neon.
each other.
Yeah, she had the neon pink. Mine was kind of a faded pink. And, man, I loved it. I love my outfit. I usually don't care much about what, all that.
Did you ever think you would hear Dale say, I got to wear a pink jacket, and I just loved my outfit?
I know, right?
Right.
Things Kel Yarbrough didn't say.
Hey. All right, so,
Earnhardt's got a little background with pink, so you good?
That's true.
yeah, he had a pink race car.
Yeah, that's
First
true.
race car. So,
Way to pull us back around, Dale.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Matthew. You saved me. Anyways, I was reading, trying to get an understanding of all the locations that me and Rut were going to go to, and I read that people, they don't allow alcohol into the infield, and people have been, ingenious in coming up with ways to get alcohol in there, and they would hollow out loaves of bread to stick bourbon whiskey into those loaves of bread
Wow.
and carry that in. So anyways, and I was glad that our hit was at 2:30 and not later in the day because it's going to get more and more rowdy. And plus it rained like hell. We luckily got in the infield and got out before it was too wet.
He got muddy later.
Damn, I got muddy. So muddy.
But the thing about the infield, see, this is stuff Dale doesn't actually know because he had earpieces in. He and Rut had earpieces in.
I did. I was, but I know what you're going to say. And I was telling Rut while we're standing there, he's got one ear out. So he hears everything happening around us.
Oh, okay.
And I told Rut, I said, he's talking to me, and I said, Rut, I can't hear what you're saying. And I don't want to hear anything going on around me right now because I'm trying to remember what I'm going to talk about during the hit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all this is such a distraction. I'm going to forget everything we're going to talk about.
I'm so glad to hear that you couldn't hear it because you would have lost your train of thought had you heard what was going on.
What were they saying? It's 2:30. Race starts. This is just like Talladega.
During the hit, live hit, okay, we had one lady asking for a photo, okay, during the hit. They're talking. Dale, get my picture. Okay,
Did my picture?
Yeah, get me a picture.
GIT.
And I turn around. I'm like, he's busy. So there was chaos going around Dale, and this was his first hit, and I knew he was, he was nervous about it. That could have messed up the whole trajectory of the
Derailed
day.
the whole day.
But it ended up being an awesome hit. I think you and Rutt nailed it.
Right out of the gate, we had a great hit, live hit, and people that aren't brought in the broadcasting part of it, their network, they probably don't care or think about whether the hit's good or bad. You're just watching on TV and you go, that was cool. I wasn't bored. I'm sitting there going, Rut, that was great. We did a good job. And then we do the next hit, and I'm like, Rut, that sucked. We got to do better next time. And he's like, yeah, what? And he's like, whatever, man, it's cool. So he grades the day globally, like as a
he
full.
averages it.
Yeah,
Sure.
He gets to the end of the day and goes, yeah, that was good. Okay, next one, next show.
Soggy Churchill Downs, where the rain has dampened a little bit of the spirits, but not many.
Pouring rain. The track is covered in water. And I was wearing like a Chuck Taylor type of shoe, and I had to walk on my toes because if my heel got down in there, it'd pull my shoe off. It'd suck my shoe right off. It was like 8 inches deep of mud. And
Well, everyone else that was there that knows what they're doing has on rubber boots.
I know. I'm looking around.
Dale's in Chucks.
I'm walking around. People got their shoes in Ziploc bags.
Rutt
and all
had
kinds
his
of stuff.
Jordans on.
Rutt had some Jordans.
Yeah, he ruined his more expensive shoes.
Rutt told me, he's like, don't buy any expensive clothes. He wore a $100 suit. That outfit that he had was $100. Yeah. And
I wouldn't have guessed much more than that.
No, right.
oh, really? I
No.
said 500.
No.
Anyways, I learned so much about each individual horse and their story. I picked Maximum Security. He wins. I say he wins the race. Me and Amy put money, or we put a little money on him, and we were excited.
So excited.
Obviously, everybody knows about the disqualification. He come off the rail, exiting turn 4 or whatever around the last turn. Bumped into a few horses. It caused them to lose a little momentum, and
Rubbing is racing. I've never heard of this happening ever. I mean, these horses are all over each other.
Yeah.
How can you avoid that?
I know. I was.
And to be honest, that's probably not the horse's fault. That's the jockey's fault.
I don't know. I'm ignorant. I'm ignorant as hell about all the rules, the history. When they made the call they made, I'm like, there must be more to it than I can see and understand.
So for the first time in the history of the Kentucky Derby, the horse that crossed the line first has been disqualified.
Do you know now? Because I still don't get it.
I still don't get it. I would have never made the call they made, but again, I admit I don't know much about it, and I was so disappointed because here we are, and I'm experiencing my first Derby, and it ends in controversy, and they take the win away.
They take the win away from the horse. That sucks.
It felt bad.
Don't you feel like because like you said, they were the baddest guy walking
think
in
on
there.
that stage.
He knows he lost. He knows he got that thing ripped away from him because he was out front.
All of this stuff about who won and disqualified, we didn't know it.
Yeah.
There was so much noise going on. Everybody was screaming
Right.
because so many people were betting on that horse.
And I text Dale and say, hey, Amy's collecting her money. And that's when we learned Dale says, you realize there's a protest, right? And we're like,
No.
hey, everybody, there's a protest.
Mike texts me back. He's like, no wonder this line ain't moving.
And no wonder it's so short.
And so, and then it's like, maybe we should look at the television and actually watch and see what's happening.
Amy, I got to let you go. I know you got some things to do today, but I wanted to ask you before we did, from a female perspective, the fashion is probably the coolest part for you.
Yeah, everyone enjoys getting dressed up, girls especially. You get to wear a hat. A hat, especially on Derby Day, is the thing. I know a lot of people wearing fascinators now.
Even guys wear hats.
And I was,
Hey,
yes.
we learned what a
Guys
fascinator was.
always wore hats.
I think just, a specific style, like the
Yeah.
newsboy.
Because Vaughn had a pretty cool hat.
Yeah, I think you can.
And your hat is called a fascinator.
It was a fascinator. I didn't wear a full hat. But
Like
typically,
that name for the hat blows me away. Fascinator. I wouldn't.
it sounds like a car part now that you're saying it.
If you said this is a
It
fascinator, what is a fascinator? I would have never said hat.
Did we pass the test as far as fashion goes?
You did great. You both hit it out of the park.
I felt like I was real conservative compared to what I saw.
You could have gone bigger.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think being on TV, you necessarily want to try that hard.
Steve Harvey was dressed up pretty cool.
He was. He had a lot of pink on too, from what I can remember.
White suit, awesome suit.
Pink hat.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, everybody gets excited about the opportunity to get dressed up. It's not Halloween, but there is a look, and it's almost like you can't do too much.
Yeah.
The bigger the hat, the better. The bigger the everything, the better. Things you don't typically wear on a normal day. So people have fun with it.
I
Well-
saw people that they looked like centerpieces at a gender reveal party.
Oh my!
Couldn't believe it.
You're
Yeah.
talking about feathers and
Oh,
different.
yeah. I mean,
It
pastels.
It can get crazy.
Well, we're gonna go back next year.
Are we?
Well, of course.
Are you going to work next year?
We are going to the Derby for the foreseeable future for many years. Yes,
Oh
that
my
was
gosh,
so,
honey.
Honey, it was awesome.
I'm so excited.
Yeah. It's like the Grand Canyon. It's something you need to see once in your life. And we will be going back. Amy, thanks for coming
I don't know
in.
if I compare it to the Grand Canyon.
I would.
But
I've been to the Grand Canyon. I'd say it's pretty similar as far as walking up on it and seeing the canyon. I was like, damn, this thing's bigger than I ever thought it would be.
Yeah.
Felt the same way about the Derby. Grand in scale and every bit of the pageantry and the fashion and the excitement, the energy, everything was bigger than I'd imagined.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming in today.
Thanks for having me,
honey.
guys.
Appreciate it.
not the last time.
Yeah, we're going to get you in for a little more family conversation or something at some
Okay.
point this
All
year.
right.
And we'll talk to you. Thank you. Hey Motorsports fans, thanks for watching. Make sure you hit subscribe before you go for all the latest news and highlights across motorsports.